Right. Hi, everybody. This is Victoria introducing Joe McNamee for Q&A. If you have any questions, you can hit the raise your hand button, and as soon as we get to that point, we'll be able to unmute you, and Joe will be able to answer your questions. So for now, if you can just mute yourself until then. He will be answering questions at the end of this webinar. So without further ado, here's Joe McNamee.
Okay, hey everyone. Vicky, am I coming in okay?
Yep.
Okay, all right, good deal. All right, so there's so many people that take my training and they're able to go out and start right away with making deals happen. And then I have people who are taking the training. They don't actually go out and engage at all. It's like they're waiting until they know every single thing there is to know about real estate investing and get every possible person on hand in their dream team. Maybe it's realtors, maybe it's attorneys, maybe it's cleanup people, repair people. They just think that they can't get started without that. And then another thing is people, they make copies of all of the contracts and all, and then they go out there and try to find, out if these contracts will work or not in their state. And so I'm not telling you to circumvent your attorney and all that kind of stuff, but daggone it, man. There's people that go out there and get started, and then they look for others to help them with the business, depending on what it is that they need help with. And then I have the people who just overthink everything. And I get that. I totally understand. And I'm going to go over that in just a few minutes. But it's where they just can't fathom how easy this process is to make money with real estate. And so what they do is they overcomplicate it, overthink it, and do all the things that they shouldn't even be thinking about doing, and they try to put it all in the very beginning of this business. So the only way that I have found to be able to stop people from being that way is for them to be in my mentoring program. And no matter what I do, if I bring them into the office, I sit down and talk with them, if I make a special arrangements with them, if I hold their hand through a couple of deals, it doesn't work anywhere near as well as them being in my regular mentoring program. So I am strongly encouraging you, if you want to be a real estate investor and you want to make as much money as possible in this business, then you should never think about doing it without having some mentoring. A little bit of mentoring goes a long ways with this business. Okay, so with all that said and done, the part that I'm talking about where people are overcomplicating this system is where I tell them what to do in real estate investing. They overcomplicate it, and the reason they do that, the reason they go down there, and I totally get this, is it's so easy to make a lot of money, and you're fixing to see a deal here in just a minute. I'm going to describe it to you, where there's so little work that's done. I mean, I literally had maybe 30 minutes of work done, and we're going to make $127,000 off of it. I mean, it's just people can't possibly grasp that it's real that you can make that much money with such little effort. A lot of people are in different lines of work, different things that they do or they know other people do, and they know how hard it is to make, $40 an hour or to make, $500 or $3,000 a week. And I understand that. There's people that will, come to me all the time. They've never made more than $10,000 in a month in their life. And here I show them how to work for a couple hours and make 50 grand. And so they just have a hard time accepting that, so they think there's all these things that they should be doing that just is not necessary. And sometimes it's never necessary to do those things, and sometimes it's not necessary in the beginning to do those things, but as you grow and evolve, there's more and more things that you'll want to do that increases what it is that the revenue that's coming in for you. So this deal that I'm going to talk about is to make you realize that it's not that complicated, it's not that hard to do this. And then I'll open it up for questions. Typically on these type of webinars, I don't have a lot of questions, but I'll open it up anyway. So, okay, so we took over a house. We spent $10 on it, I want to say about 8 to 10 years ago. And so through time, we've put multiple buyers in that property, and we've probably made twice what the house cost to begin with off of that deal, but we never spent more than $10, and we brought a private investor in. So private investor came in, we took out the note on this particular type of deal. So originally I was going to buy this subject to. The seller screwed that up, didn't understand what it was that I was doing, even though I explained it to her really well. She screwed that up, so I had to bring a private investor in to take this note out. Now the private investor came in, and the private investor is in there so that they can earn interest off of that deal. So they were earning and still are earning 8 times what a bank would pay them, and that's a very small amount of money that comes out every month to cover the cost of this deal. So for 8 or 10 years, that's what the cost has been handling this. Now that equals in monthly payments about $700 a month with principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. All right. So the income has never been under $1,200 a month on that property, and the monthly payments have been anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 down on this property, and we've had multiple buyers in that property. So through the years, we have made a lot of money off of that property, and we still own it. The last buyer that was going to buy it, doing everything that they were supposed to do to buy it, just all of a sudden randomly decides to move out and stop, everything that they were doing. So they moved out. This is the beginning of November. They moved out the end of October. So we took the property back over, and there was a couple little things we wanted to do to it. So we had a person clean the carpets and blow off the roof. All right, so those were the 2 things. It took maybe 2 hours to do all of that at the most. If you really wanted to stretch it out, 2 hours. So we got the house ready, and we decided at noontime, let's see, when was that? Noontime, either yesterday or the day before, that we were going to put this property up for sale. So we put it up for sale by just putting a couple of signs out. We didn't have time to even go do our videos, our pictures, new pictures, or any of that kind of stuff with this property. Now we had pictures from before, but the house was a different color. One of the last end buyer changed the color on the outside of the house, so we need obviously all new pictures. So before we could do any of that, here goes the advertisement, which was just a few signs being put out. I do them exactly the way I teach in Jumpstart, and within 3 hours, we have a person who's buying the house, and they're doing it one of 2 ways. Either they're just going to buy it outright, cash, or they're going to put $50,000 down, and then I'm going to take back that note on it at about $700 a month. Okay, so that took 3 hours of time to go by for me to just put the signs out, put the lockbox on the door with the key in it. So we've done that so many times. We've advertised the house different ways. We've done all kinds of stuff, but in this case here, we didn't need to do any of that. The signs did it for us, and I put a grand total of, there are 3 signs in the yard of the property, and there was, I think there's 3 pointer signs put out, and that's it. We've done nothing else with the property to market it, advertise it. We haven't had a chance to put it on any of our sites, our normal sites, our classified ad sites. We didn't have time to put it on our, I don't know if we put it on our, we may have done a coming soon on our normal website, but no advertisement has happened at all for this property. The reason all that works so well is because we don't spend any time at all doing all the things that are not necessary to do. We only focus on the things that are necessary. And so this is just a tiny little sliver of Jumpstart, what we did to do this. Now, I know attorneys that don't make $100,000 a year, and in 3 hours we make another 50 grand off of this property, another 50 grand off of this one property. So I'm not picking on the attorneys and what they make and their income or anybody else's income. I'm just saying it's very easy to do this business. You have to learn how to get out of your own way and not overcomplicate it. It's very simple. It's very simple. So you remember the old KISS thing, where it's an acronym, keep it simple, and some people say stupid, I say student. Keep it simple, student. So the KISS applies to this. So just make sure that you're not overcomplicating anything. It's very easy to make money off of properties. Now this happens to be a property that I already own. The same thing happens when we take over properties. I'm taking over a property. Right now, it's a property that I will be putting up for sale in December. Why December? That's how long the seller is going to take to move their stuff out for us to then market the house. So she's an elderly person who's going to be moving her belongings from the house, and then we'll market it for sale and put it out there and and start showing that property. That house will probably go just as fast as this one did. It's in the same town as this one, and that house is nicer than the house that we just put out there with just the signs. So we'll start a coming soon type thing. We won't give out an address or anything, but we'll just give a general location, and that's it on that one. That one I've never owned before. I'm going to take it over. There's two different ways I'm going to do this. One is I'm trying to go back. I'm trying to decide right now. I think I'm going to do the second option, but one is I'm going to take it over with just an option to purchase, market it, and then lease it with the right to sublease it. But the other option that I started talking to the seller about, and she's okay with, is me just going ahead and buying it outright, seller financed, where my first payment would be due in January, and it would be a much lower monthly payment than what I can expect to bring in as a monthly payment on that property. Now, I'm telling you, if you don't already have a good understanding of what your market is in an area, don't just go and do what I just said. You want to make sure that you know for a fact that you can get that monthly amount or more for your property so that you're not in the red on a property that you went ahead and went to closing and bought it seller financed. So that's about it on that. It drives me nuts with people that just make it way, way, way too hard. They don't follow what's in Jumpstart. They listen to it. They hear me talking about different types of strategies, different types of deals, and they think that that's what they should be doing and only that, and nothing could be further from the truth. There's so many different types of techniques and structures that I teach in Jumpstart, but I show you not to spend any money on properties in the beginning, getting started. You're not putting a bunch of time and effort and money into properties. You're just putting an option to purchase, and you're marketing it to a list, and you're putting out there your terms, and then you're seeing who pops up and what their capabilities are, and then you're going back to the seller and chatting with them about what way you could make this work by you chatting with that seller, and that's it. If the seller's okay with it, now you can go back and put a deal together. If the seller's not okay with it, then you need to keep on looking for a potential buyer. Okay, so there's that stuff. I can see that people are signing on as we're talking about this. So You didn't hear the very beginning of this, so in the event that you have any questions, I don't care if it's about the deals that I've just talked about, or if it's something else that's going on for you or you need some help with, you can ask questions about any of that. So go ahead and do that. Ask your questions. We'll get them answered. And if you want to understand a little bit more about what I've been talking about for the past, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, there will be a recording of this webinar. Okay, so Vicki, let's see if anyone has any questions.
Okay, if anyone has any questions, just raise your hand.
If anyone has a situation that they're dealing with that they need a little bit of help with, just this is your time to go ahead and do it now. People pay me thousands of dollars an hour for their issues that they're dealing with. So right now is your free time to ask those questions of any kind of situation that's happening for you. That's the thing about these little webinars. A lot of times people just don't ask the questions. They sit there month after month, year after year, maybe doing a couple of deals a year when easily they could break into 20 or 30, and they just don't ask the questions that it takes to shake loose what it is that they could be doing. Okay, so if there's no one going to ask any questions, then I'm going to go ahead and close this off. So I'm going to say it here, going once, going twice. If there's no questions, then I guess we'll end it right here. If you have any questions, if you have a situation, if you want to get into the mentoring, if you want to get into other products or services that we offer, the phone number's right there on the screen, and so is our email address. Okay, y'all have a good day now. Bye.